Welcome back to Week 5 here in the European LCS, where Vitality have a chance to secure their win against Roccat in Game 2. And man, they came out firing all the shots in Game 1.
Yeah, well, it turns out it wasn't the Lucian pick for Steelback that was like his player picture, the video.
But it was
actually Nuked.
I mean, if he had been doing the Cogma, I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see him doing an impression of Cogmore. That would be disgusting.
Well, he certainly didn't have a bad performance on the champion, coming out with the AD and, well, wrecking down with a living artillery all over Roccat.
Yeah, it was good. You know, Vitality bringing out a pick that we, you know, as Deficio was talking about, have heard that teams have been playing in scrims. Doesn't always work out that way because scrims normally have that very different play style.
But
I want to see if Roccat put Vitality back into the same position, if they give him the Corki and then end up grabbing the Cogmore for Vitality. I want to see Roccat camp that mid lane. I want to see him try and put it behind.
We'll see what changes and start with the picks and bans. This time, Roccat on the blue side decided to remove Cabochard's Rumble, so he will not get his chance on the Meki Yordle this time around, and Zax followed through.
I think it's a decent removal from Cabochard. Of course, had 3 games of Rumble last week. Now another game today, no longer in this series by the looks of things. Rek'Sai going as well. I kind of like this adaptation from Roccat where they say, okay, let's just change everything up. Let's change what we're going to ban away out of Vitality. Take away 2 of the picks that we thought were the problem in the last game. Remember, Joko on that Rek'Sai got into lane in the bot lane at level 2. For the bot laners, and actually got that first kill.
Yep, Rakan ban followed through. I want to see if Elise gets left open again. First pick for Pride Stalker. That one was a head scratcher. I mean, he's not had the most success on all of the jungle champions, but I mean, you got to do it if it's left up and available and you want to have any kind of early pressure.
Cannon goes as well, banning it from their own team.
Yep.
Not letting
Foxy, you don't get this. Anar might be left open, but...
Well, Thresh is up, Elise is up. I'm expecting Thresh probably to be banned out now by Vitality.
There it is.
Don't want to have to deal with that. So, as you said, Elise has to be in the mind of being a first pickable champion.
Yeah, you did it.
You get your wish. Roccat, buy into the Elise hype. It is a strong jungler, get that catch potential, the kind of pick you could camp a mid laner with or a top laner. So we'll see where Vitality end up going. But now, will it be the Caitlyn or the Jhin for Steelback that worked out very well in the last game? Also got to think about Tahm Kench as one of these picks that's high priority right now as well.
Very true, been banned quite a lot. So there is the Caitlyn coming in for Steelback. We'll see if they do follow what, filling out their bot lane. Some time on the board to still think about it.
At some point, they have to pick up a jungler, because if they leave it too long to pick up a jungler, they'll just ban everything out the further you go. Into phase 2, you'd expect Roccat then to turn their attention onto Joko's champion pool.
That's very true. And one thing that has been a big part of Joko's champion pool has been that Olaf as the timer ticks down. That's a jungler.
That is a jungler. The Olaf can do well into Elise with trading damage early on. But I think one important thing, if you look right in the bottom middle part of your screen for Pride Stalker, kills plus assists at 15 on Elise, 0. We'll track that as we go into game. We need to see more and faster out of him. But speaking of fast, Roccat quickly have picked up their next 2 picks.
Yeah, top lane is going to be the Renekton for Foxy, and it's followed through by a Varus for Yarnan, who decides to match range with range.
So Renekton trying to just get that early game presence. That kind of forces Vitality to look towards topside right now for themselves. We've seen people pick the Fiora into Renekton. Bad laning matchup, but you can take control of the side lane later on. Another champion that we've seen people play, that Vitality are actually buying into now, is this Shen. Of course, not exactly the easiest laning phase, but you obviously a Shen. You have that high priority on moving out of the lane, getting focus in team fights when it comes to shielding allies.
There's somebody that doesn't give a care at all in the world about losing your laning phase. It's probably going to be the Shen. We're entering ban phase 2. That's Lulu off the board, followed by the LeBlanc.
Woodid's Lulu was pretty good in the last game. Had some good combination knockups with Pride Stalker where they had the Warwick jump in, get the knockup. Everything looked to be better for Roccat, but it wasn't enough. Didn't really turn the tide, and I felt like it was lacking some of the bite that we've seen out of Woodid's engaged champion pool. Last game we had an Alistar ban. I don't necessarily anticipate an Alistar coming out from Woodid in this game. Probably the Tahm Kench is going to be what is picked up, but Vitality may take that for themselves just here.
Got a chance. The Fizz is banned out again. Once more, Roccat is respecting NukeDuck's vast champion pool, to say the least. I mean, they, in theory, could pull the Cogma once again. You've got a Stand United available.
I mean, if you ban Fizz, you're probably picking Syndra at this point.
Yeah. There's the Tahm Kench.
One of those matchups that we have seen banned away commonly.
Ooh. Okay, you talked about a playmaking support. Well, that's one for Wadid.
Yeah, that's some long-range setup here for Wadid. Interesting. We've heard supports talk about Bard quite a lot and how actually he's not that great because he doesn't give you a whole lot of lane presence. Well, Tahm Kench is going to sit back in the lane for the majority anyway with this Caitlyn. Bit of harass, but you're not exactly going to have all that much kill pressure without a jungler. So interesting to see Wadid now looking for a pick that goes later on into the game. And because we saw the Syndra in the middle lane, the Corki comes out in response. Of course, Syndra does have a good laning phase, can do well against Corki, but will not have that same late game impact that we're going to see out of the daring Bombardier.
Well, Nuke Duck saying, all right, Betsy, let me show you how to play this champion. See how it all goes down. But Vitality do have some late game power for themselves, and they also have a lot of fight potential. Once again, they have the ability to get into that back line in multiple ways.
Right, they have a lot of grouping ability at the same time. Almost every champion here will be able to cross large distances. You got the package, you got Tahm Kench, you got Shen. Of course, you can bring the Olaf with you with that Abyssal Voyage. Whereas Roccat on the other side, looking much more focused towards some sense of laning phase in the top side of the map. At least Renekton likely to be where you see Pride Stalkers focus in the early game. Betsy should be able to hold on through that mid lane as well.
They have a lot of catch potential too. I mean, just about everybody on that team has a form of CC.
Yeah.
And that means that if anybody on Vitality isn't respecting their positioning, they could get caught out. But it was Roccat that committed that sin last time around. And they're going to have to change things up a little bit if they want to equalize this series.
Joko on this Olaf. We saw in the last game him get first blood for his team and then give away the kill by invading aggressively. This time he's got a jungler that has no escape. Gonna be running that Ghost.
See how it all goes.
It's a Joko signature pick though, so as we head into game, let's see what Vitality can do. Can they close out one more series?
Can they do indeed? A win here would be absolutely massive for a team that has been struggling in the standings for quite some time, but they are on the precipice of knocking off Team Roccat. We'll see if they're able to do it as we hit Summoner's Rift for time 2 today.
Also, with it being Berlin, that is a rain slick precipice at this point. So, still raining.
Yeah.
There's your weather update. I'm not a weatherman.
You know, totally random aside, I'm pretty sure the guys from Penny Arcade designed Varus. I remember reading that back in the day.
I have no comment.
Go Google it, everybody. I do not stand by that statement 100%.
Well, Pride Stalker, at this point, he's the one we've got to look at. Remember, 0 K plus A at 15. Well, he's about to get squished.
All right. Okay. Vitality do not like spiders, confirmed. Ghost on, burn for a flash.
Joko kind of just laughs because he just traded Ghost for Flash, and that is great for the Olaf at this point.
So what are the odds we're going to see that invade now?
Yeah, it might actually happen a little bit more significantly now. Joko may go red buff into the enemy blue area, because look where Pride Stalker is going to start. He's going to be on the bottom side. We'll see Corki help with the Phosphorus Bomb. Joko will start on the Raptors. Heal up a lot of the damage, then go to red likely, and then may just run into the blue buff. Look, even Cabochard now trying to spot out where the start is to see, but he was spotted on a ward himself.
Shenanigans.
So Pride Stalker
for sure.
may just throw caution to the wind and go red buff down to bot lane and try and gank there.
I mean, hey, it worked out last game for Joko. Why not? Starts off on his Raptors, of course, and that, once again, is being matched by what Joko's able to do. So we'll keep an eye on the junglers as the game goes. But we've entered the laning phase. Garnet did trying to match the pressure of Steelback and Vander.
Yeah.
Couldn't do last game.
So, Joko not heading towards his red buff either at this point, heading down towards blue. Of course, Olaf does have a lot of mana issues in the early game. You can see how low he is already. Caught out on that ward, so no cheesy, weird, unorthodox start out of Joko because of that mana dependency.
Always going to have a chance to buy a little breathing time now on the side of Roccat, see how it all goes down. But now that he's got the blue buff, he's going to have a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
See if he ends up taking his first back after it all. But it's going to be a quiet early game after all.
And the thing is that, once again, oh, the ward died. So the Roccat did not get spotted on this blue buff. That actually gives Pride Stalker an opportunity to try and punish Cabochard on the top lane. We were talking about how Elise typically is one of those high priority early game champions up top side with the Renekton specifically because he just balanced the crowd control very well with that Ruthless Predator with the Cocoon. But the problem is, we were talking to Pride Stalker after some of his weeks 1 and 2 games, and he was just talking about how he's never really been an Elise player. and how the team are like, yeah, you should play Elise, it worked well in scrims, and that'll be great. But he's like, I still don't quite feel comfortable. It's been another couple of weeks now, so let's take another look as to whether Pridestalker can have this early game impact on this Elise.
It's going to be a little difficult in that top lane because of how pushed in Cabochard is right now, but the mid might be the option. We've talked about it last time around. We wanted to see the Kog'Maw getting ganked, and that just didn't happen when he was on the Warwick. But now he's a chance on this Elise. If Betsy can kind of make a little bit of a feint here, say, ooh, I'm caught out. Whatever shall I do?
I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but look at what is going on here, trying to protect the top side. Now Joker's been spotted out by that Scryer's Bloom. Denies his option of going up into top side. That allows Pridestalker to basically be content with farming and not have to do anything on the map. But it speaks a lot to the experience, or let's say inexperience, of Pridestalker. This is only his 5th week of LCS competitive play. So there is still quite a lot to learn when it comes to on-stage play. So when you come to champions and he's not quite so solid on, that's where I think we see some of the real weakness of not quite being that experienced leader come from that jungle role. We need to see him be more active.
Well, limited experience, and also a very young player as well. We oftentimes do see these hotshot young players coming out of solo queue, coming out of an environment that is vastly different to what it's like to play on any kind of stage. And we only had a limited amount of challenger experience even before moving into the LCS.
And I think that's where one of the most interesting things comes from, is the fact that he used to be a quote-unquote one-trick with Rengar and then Kha'Zix alongside it. It's kind of rare to see a new breed player that doesn't have a grasp on a champion like Elise, that has been around for so long, has been a staple in the jungle for so long. And I think only with time now will we see that grow for Pridestalker. On the other side of the rift, Joko was hanging around mid lane, looking just for a counter gank opportunity because Nukeduck had pushed up in the lane. Didn't actually need to go into the lane at all, but he has been spotted now. Pridestalker will be there beside him.
Scout of the week, though, and Pridestalker does land a Cocoon point blank, as it were. Instant exhaust out of Nukeduck, and the 2v2 comes to nothing.
But look, both back away. Roccat were bringing their bot lane up very quickly as well. Nobody has ultimates yet in this game, so it was just Nukeduck's summoner, that exhaust, and the ghost for Betsy that was used.
Relatively even trade, all said and done, but Roccat have done a good job tracking Joko's movements in this game. You see it's another ward that's just about to expire on the Wolf camp, the one at the blue that had just been placed a little while ago. So they relatively are able to keep an eye on him this game, and that's going to help out Pridestalker, especially in this early game, if he's still uncomfortable on a champion like Elise.
And that was part of the criticism that the analysts were kind of giving over to Roccat, was not necessarily the early game warding, but later on, the amount of warding that Roccat had, the vision to spot Nukeduck roaming. The 1v1 trade was not something they had talked about on the analyst desk, but Faxi's on the losing end of that one somewhat.
Yeah,
but you can
though.
see Faxi is heavily up in CS, held on to his ultimate at the same time as you were alluding to, so.
This is that Renekton lane though, right? Like, Shen is not going to win a whole lot of laning phases, especially up against the likes of an early game bully like Renekton, but still was able to trade with him effectively.
Yeah, well, Faxi went under the tower, so at
2v1, you can't do that.
Yeah, that is a lot easier a trade for a Shen to win. Heavy CS gap in favor of Roccat up in the top side. So, but that's why you pick the Renekton, right? The same with why you pick up a Syndra, is you want to have that laning phase advantage, and that's what we've seen. Will this be activity in the early game for Pridestalker? No, he...
that does not feel good.
That might be one of the most instant regret blast cones. Pridestalker blast cones his way over and goes, oh, I don't want this. Doesn't have anything to repel to, so has to flash back out. That's unfortunate.
It's an oopsie for sure, so we'll have to deal with it being flashless for several minutes now, and he actually gets scared off of finishing that control ward in the jungle, or in the river, I should say.
That means Pridestalker for the majority of this game has not had flash. Because he got it burned at level 1, now he's got it burned again. So pre-10 minutes, probably spent more time with flash down than up.
Having a little rough time there for sure.
Yeah.
As he was under the gun, quite literally for a little while, as Joko and Vander are trying to go for an invade, with Dids actually hanging out over by the red buff to try and place some vision down, but Joko might be able to get this steal off. Pridestalker is nowhere near this.
No, look, in champion terms, it's Hyanan that's under the gun. Okay, he's up against Caitlyn.
Yeah, but that's a permanent status. I was talking about in the moment stress. That's not news. Everybody knows that.
That's fair. Roccat, this is the moment.
There we go.
I've said this before. I said this when Pride Soccer came up a little before. Is this it? Cocoon, it's landed.
She's going to be able to get it, throw it down, and he gets the block on, but the taunt does not land, and they juggle the aggro well. Flashing forward, it's first blood for Faxi.
There you go. It's come 8 minutes into the game. That's how long it took. Oh, Betsy.
Looking for revenge. Oh, he flashes, and he isn't able to get the stun off onto anybody. Nuke Duck equalizing the kill count.
Yeah, Betsy was roaming up top to try and help. Got caught by Vitality with Joko and Nuke Duck being able to punish him. Used the flash. Betsy didn't even have an opportunity to ult because there was nobody it would have killed.
He totally oopsied on that one. Burned both of his summoners and nothing to show for it right now. And here we go. Joko is looking to really ruin Pride Stalker's day as he goes skittering forward right into the axe. One level advantage, throws down another one, reckless swing, and that is going to be the end of it. And Pride Stalker, why'd he go back in? He's got to repel up.
What goes up must come down.
Gravity reasserts itself, and Joko gets another one.
Oh, Pride Stalker. Just when we were saying, hey, this is the activity we wanted. Finally, pre-15, he's on the Elise, he's getting to the top side. Bot lane, there's another engage.
Yeah, activity goes two ways, it would appear. Wadid stepped on that trap, gets himself pushed back for a moment. Yarnan trying to trade it out, but that Warlord's keeping the Caitlyn healthy. Ace in the hole comes out.
Joko has done a good job punishing Pride Stalker in this game. So Pride Stalker goes top side. It's not exactly the cleanest dive, but it ends up resulting in a kill without giving anything away. But look at the minimap. Why is Betsy roaming out of lane?
He doesn't even see Joko.
So at this point, he sees Joko right before he engages. The reason he's going up here is he wants to try and capitalize on Nuke Duck getting to the fight. But look, Nuke Duck's no mana. Nuke Duck would have been 1 versus 2 for a while, unless he saw the Olaf and then runs right into him. Somebody who didn't see the Olaf, however, was Pride Stalker, because we're waiting around the corner and gets caught.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So he does get the cocoon off, which is nice, but I think he stopped and turned back around for a second. I don't know if he would have gotten away either way, but all of a sudden, Nuke Duck coming in with a special delivery, but it instantly temper fate, and it looks like it's going to be stopped just short as Joko takes another cocoon to the face. Vitality try for the 5-man dive, and it's foiled.
Yeah, tower is going in the way of Roccat in the top side. That's where a lot of this gold advantage is coming from. Now, Vitality want to trade it back. They will be able to get it with all of this tower damage in the bottom lane. So Vitality opting towards utilizing the Shen, as you would expect, once that Stand United was available. But look at the crushing CS deficit the Roccat have in their favor topside.
Yes, indeed. Faxi continuing to get that edge over the Shen right now means he's free to roam around, but with Vitality getting the turret in the bottom side, another Infernal Drake. This series is ripe for him, it would appear. Been started this time by Joko. In comes Steelback and Vander to help out the effort. Wadid is not going to see this one happening, and unfortunately it's going to pass Roccat by.
Slowly.
Very slowly.
Yeah. Oh. I thought Wadid was going to throw out a Q.
If he just did like a random Q and then all of a sudden he steals it, that is like LCS big plays X9 right there.
Unfortunately, not so much on that. Wadid didn't throw out the Q. Would have been difficult to out damage that smite from Joko. So.
Yeah, we've seen Stranger Things.
Yeah, I have. It's great.
I actually haven't watched it.
I won't spoil it.
There's my embarrassing.
Otherwise, it'll turn your whole world upside down. So Vitality don't want to get turned upside down by Roccat at this point, who have the gold lead. Ever so slightly, 500.
Well, speaking of upside down, we've seen the dual lane swap back up to the top side. And, of course, Yarnan and Pride Stalker are actually the ones on the bottom and try and push this one out. But they're going to have Wadid's help as well, so we'll see who wins that race. It looks like it is going to be Roccat.
I think the thing that bothers me the most is that having seen the show, you don't even get the reference at this point.
No, I'm totally out there, but that's
You
okay.
actually managed to make a good reference from something that works without ever knowing you were doing it.
Sometimes you get lucky.
That's fair.
Whoa, holy Faxi wants to go in on this one. Clears out that wave.
He does, and defends his tower quite admirably. Now Roccat looking to continue a push onto the bot side.
Yeah, I don't think Vitality expected that one right there, so it's only Cabochard here to defend the bottom tower, and Joko coming to the rescue.
It's not something that Roccat are going to be able to continue and complete. They're not going to be able to take that tower down. Just too much in the way of health on that tower. Too much defensive capability out of Vitality there.
All right, take the magical journey out to relative safety cleared away. Let's check back in with the mid lane. Because about this time, last game, Nuke Duck was actually having a pretty big blast over Betsy, and it's much more even affair with this Corki, a much more safe champion. not trying to make the outplay, just trying to survive in the laning phase and dish the damage that he's received.
The difference here is the fact that this Corki doesn't really have too much in the way of opposition later on in the game. One of the things that Kog'Maw did very well was contend through the laning phase, be able to deny a lot of what Corki was waiting for later into the game. You can see how well Nukeduck did. Most of his kills came later.
Joko! Unleash the power right into Vander's belly. He goes. That was a tense moment.
That was a little bit of luck. Standing on a ward, didn't quite get killed.
Just collapsing right on top of him. But yeah, Joko gets out with his life this time around, and oh, there's a teleport coming in. I don't think it's going to finish in time before Joko gets his back away.
It's not for Joko, it's the top lane that they're looking for. Remember, Vander just used his ultimate.
There we go.
Steelback has no tower behind them now. Faxi can close in.
They're in for a big surprise. The Steelback Tempered Fate is on top at hand, and the Tahm Kench is stopped short right now. As Foxy goes forward, looking for a little bit more. The Tahm Kench already burning his flash and actually doesn't have to pop the gray health.
It was Wadid that picked up the kill. So well executed for Roccat in the sense of starting the play, knowing what they're looking for. I think they would have liked to give that one over to Hyanan or Joko.
Last cone brings Faxi right on in, and he has to Ragnarok.
No stun left available for Faxi, but Roccat, this is a lot better than the last game for them. We saw it be Vitality that were focusing down the towers in the early game. Vitality cracked all 3 outer towers very early on. Well, it might not be all 3 outers, but that's an inner to make 3 towers going down for Roccat, and we're only 14 minutes into this game.
Yeah, this is looking good for Roccat. Despite losing out on a dragon, they have themselves a pretty big objective and gold lead at 15 minutes into this game. 3,000, or rather 2.5 in their favor. Steelback looking to stop a few backs. He goes ace in the hole, and Wadid is going to have to leap it out of there. That's a verb now.
Sure, I'll buy into that. One thing that Vitality didn't buy into was a whole lot of early game presence. Outside of Joko's potential on Olaf, Roccat, you know, they had the Renekton, the Syndra, these laning picks, which means Vitality kind of conceded to playing from behind for the majority of the game. And that's when now they need to kind of shore up a lot of these earlier game weaknesses. They can't let Roccat get too far ahead with this composition.
Right, and even though PrideStalker hasn't had the hugest amount of success on this Elise, the rest of the team has been doing well. He's been able to assist them. That dive up top helped Foxy get ahead early enough in the game, and the tempo advantage has been theirs. Magical Journey taken by Wadid, looking for Steelback. That trap did not arm in time. It's going to be the end of that for now, though, but you can see Roccat still sniffing for the picks.
Roccat drifting everybody up towards the top side of the map as well, towards this Rift Herald. Of course, Shen's the other side of the map, so he's going to be able to stand United his way over. Nukeduck has Betsy in between him and the Rift Herald, but Vitality want this fight. They want to try and solidify it, but is it just a bait for a fight? Wadid has his ultimate available.
Might be in for the 50-50 smite right now. They get the Tempered Fate down onto Vander, and they root up the Olaf, who Ragnaroks, and Vander is going to be caught between all 5 members as they turn right back onto the Rift Herald.
Able to pick up the Rift Herald very quickly after having got it low before that fight. Vander gets caught out. That's something that happens very commonly for Vitality. Not as common as when Hachani was the support for Vitality the first time around, but Vander, always looking to put himself in situations to make plays, gets caught out. It's kind of the byproduct of being an engaged, focused support. Ends up on the receiving end of the damage from Roccat on this one, and Rift Herald goes their way too.
Cost him a little bit, and Joko, he was really sniffing to try and make that smite happen, but he couldn't do a thing.
Yeah, you can see they stop at 2,600 damage here, remaining on that Rift Herald, and that means there's no chance of that smite being there to steal it away from Roccat. It's a smart place to stop, and now easy Rift Herald take from Roccat with the team fight should lead to mid tower here. We just need to see PrideStalker come over, spawn it. It doesn't matter whether they lose top tower in exchange for this. The mid tower is going to be way more advantageous for them.
At the very least, Vitality are going to be able to find something, but with the Rift Herald now spawned, Nukeduck's going to have
in the mid lane as well.
Hard time really defending against that, even though he threw some serious damage down with the rockets and the Foss bombs. Oh, they've actually got him stunned up, but the rest of Vitality is coming to the rescue. Nukeduck's only able to spot a few mini spiders as Foxy actually isolated from the rest of the team. Cabochard getting a taunt on. This time he's able to find Betsy, who's getting low. Steelback flashing forward and back into the belly of Vander as Nukeduck gets the finishing blow onto his opposing mid laner. The rest of Roccat can't respond.
That might be one of the most aggressive plays we've seen Steelback make all split, trying to flash forward, get the auto is down. He knows that Vander was there with the Devourer to keep him safe. Didn't get the kill. It went to Nuke. Doesn't matter because look at what happened in this entire situation. Rift Herald spawned in the mid lane. Vitality take top tower with Steelback and Vander. Ult using the Tahm Kench Abyssal Voyage down towards the middle lane. Defend the Rift Herald push, then turn it around into a mid tower for themselves, into a Mountain Drake. That's exactly what Vitality needed to turn this game around.
100%. We've seen Vitality do this a couple of times in their win against the Mysterious Monkeys. They were down a large chunk of gold before they actually were able to get it back in that second game. It was on the Baron that time, but this time they'll take it in the mid for sure. 18-30, they've equalized on the kill count. The gold is not too shabby, and they got themselves a Mountain Drake. Hyunan's
trying to just say, okay, just get me a minion wave. I can kill this with 2 auto attacks. Like, we just get the tower down, and Vitality say, okay, there's no point committing anything to defending this. This is already dead.
3 auto attacks.
Roccat, yeah, it was 3.
If only he'd had a crit.
At that point with Vitality, does not committing anything to defending the tower. This is the play. Look, Abyssal Voyage, top side of the screen brings Steel back in. Then Joko says, okay, now we can actually go for this. Pride Stalker once again forced to flash away, and Faxi on the bad end of a lot of damage coming through there. Cabochard taunts onto Betsy. Everything's good. There was the aggressive play out of Steelback. Flashing forward, trying to get the kill, but from here, Vitality able to very easily balance the tail end of that fight.
In the live. All of a sudden, Joko gets caught, but he's made to CC. That's pretty useful.
Not happening on Joko there.
No, I mean, that's really useful against a team like what Rockat's got, because they are in some ways relying on getting these picks and turning that into a 5v4. It's not going to happen on Joko when he has Ragnarok up. But Steelback is able to Valk away.
That's one of the reasons why Olaf's decent into Elise. Also, the trade we saw earlier where Pride Stalker got 1v1 down by Joko, that early game damage.
It's really hard to 1v1 an Olaf because he just starts swinging faster and faster the lower he gets.
Yeah, so looking at it, Roccat typically averaging being down 1.7 thousand gold.
Wait, let me do the math.
How far down are they now? I'll give you a hint.
Not.
They're not, and it's almost the exact opposite. They're roughly up 1.7k gold against Vitality in this game. Big turnaround from the last game.
I have got no stats to predict what will happen next.
Really?
Not this time.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Better get in contact with the stats team.
Yeah, they're going to have to start whispering things in the air. Make me sound that smart, and wow. Oh, it's one of those days, isn't it?
Oh, it truly is. Roccat Vitality waiting for those later game fights to really turn things around.
We've had some action in the early game, more than I think we really did in the last time around, but that was a 35-minute game. It was a little quicker than we honestly could have expected. And we're 21 minutes into this one. Roccat...
You know what's funny when you say 35 minutes was quicker? So Unicorns, not related to this game. Let's just look at this.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute because Joko and Vander were going in. Joko gets juked by Yarna, but he's got the stand united. There's AD carry is going nowhere. Steelback getting the finishing blow. Now it did being chased down, but they can't finish him off. Vitality just stack.
There we go. That's more of the same from Vitality from the last game where they were going for those aggressive plays. Now they're going to turn towards the Baron.
There we go.
Little bit of deja vu. It was later in the last game, but look, Steelback sets the traps, and now they're going to wait.
Pride Stalker. Not wanting to go in. Oh, the taunt flash right in onto Pride Stalker. Wow. And they just delete him without a smite. That is going to be an easy peasy Baron.
Yeah, easy taunt flash. It looks like everything's starting to align. The stars aligning for Vitality. This is what they've needed for so long.
They were looking for Foxy, but while he was all distracting the rest of them, it's Nuke Duck finishing a kill off onto a did with that burst damage. They didn't get the Baron start they wanted, but they were able to get one more member out and trying to bait Foxy and Betsy into the rest of this fight. But they have been peeled off the Baron, and Yarnan's coming back.
Vitality backing away. As you said, Hyanan on his way, but Vitality have been able to shore up some of that gold lead that Roccat had. Couldn't quite commit to the Baron this early on. I think Nuke Duck's actually holding a decent amount of gold right now. 1,600 gold on his person. Doesn't want to really take a fight extra without that. So it was Steelback going in aggressive. They had the Abyssal Voyage come through because, look, the vision had already been set up by Vitality to know that Wadid was in that bush. And it's as simple as taking Hyanan out. Pride Stalker, still no flash, remember. That's what eventually ends up punishing him even further.
He has been flashless for a lot of this game.
He really has.
Poor guy.
That feels bad. Like,
yeah.
So you never flash Cocoon? on Elise at that point. That's so sad that you're just never able to realistically utilize some of your engage. But honestly, that's kind of what Pride Stalker is going to become here. It's just a flash bot, a cocoon bot, I should say.
Yeah. Slow flash bot every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw, honestly, how big of a difference the right cocoon, the right flash cocoon can make, even in the late stages of the game. Look at what happened with Broxah yesterday. If Pride Stalker can nail one of those, that might be all the difference. Now, Joko, he does get stopped and stunned. Scout of the week. Pretty big investment there, though. He gets spat out by Vander, and they're going to be able to lock him down. Now he has to burn his flash to get away. Roccat really trying to make the picks work.
Interesting.
Nuke Duck coming around.
Yeah, Nuke Duck trying to come around the side.
There's a lot of ults down right now, and he's got a package.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about his build, which isn't massively significant, but it's a big departure, the fact that he finished the Maw of Malmortius rather than just sitting on a Hex Drinker. We do see it from time to time. Typically, the Corki builds have been along the rapid-fire cannon route, going the static shiv, wanted, obviously, to survive through the Syndra burst that comes out of Betsy. Just interesting that he didn't just stop at Hex Drinker, build the rest of his build, and then finish more later, which is what previously, when Corki was in the meta, is what you do. Of course, this now reduces his ability to get those crits in team fights, reduces some of his extra damage, but obviously cooldown reduction works very well with Corki. You get faster rockets, faster Qs, that type of thing.
And you're forgetting one very important thing, Scrap.
Sure.
He's nuked up.
Right, but that only works with Power of Evil.
I don't know. He still does a lot of damage. We've seen those numbers the last couple weeks.
That's fair. I just mean like the whole builds excuse. It's not a wacky build. I'm not saying it's bad.
My point is a play-by-play point. You have the smart point.
Sometimes.
More than I do, I'll tell you that much. Vitality started off the Infernal Drake. Very close in the gold game right now. Roccat are looking to try and contest here. Pride Stalker waiting in the wings. He does have flash this time. And up to Rappel. He's going to stick the bangs in, and there we go. Smite Stalker indeed. Now, is he going to be able to get out alive? I don't think so, but that is #worth. And he goes back up and comes back down, and Cabochard finishes him off. It is a 1-for-none on the back of the fight. It's
only worth for now. If Vitality commit to the Baron on the end of this, they obviously 30 seconds without Pride Stalker is a tough thing for Roccat to capitalize on.
Ooh, taunt doesn't land. I mean, it looks like Vitality would rather fight this one out. Joko had half his health bar. Very dangerous position right now. Roccat reassessing. They're going to need to try and peel Vitality off this Baron for the next 15 seconds.
Yeah, of course, Joko can't really rely on healing up from the Baron himself, unfortunately, but Vitality are healthy enough that they can continue to commit for this. Blue Trinket goes down.
They're baiting.
They are.
We've seen this one before.
Roccat aren't buying into it, and Vitality are actually recalling.
Oh, this is great. Guys, we know they're not actually doing the Baron. Come on.
That's a very dangerous bluff to try and call.
In this game, it is proven true.
Oh.
All right.
We're trying to spot things out just by using the health. So Pride Stalker, he was going in. Of course, has his flash available. He's ready. Flash, Q, Smite, got it. Smite Stalker.
Oh, what do I do now?
Now you got no way out of the pit, which is kind of okay at that point. It didn't punish Vitality. Didn't punish Roccat super hard. The Pride Stalker was dead. They get the Infernal Drake, stop Vitality from having 3 dragons to their name.
Not just a cocoon bot.
Right, I feel like I disrespected Pride Stalker by saying that.
I think you were qualifying it with the late game, right? We're not really there yet. We're 26 minutes in still.
You don't have to dig me out of the grave I built for myself on that one, Pyro, but thank you, I appreciate it.
Hey, what are co-casters for?
Talking a lot?
Yeah, you got a point there. All right. Tempered Fate once again on to Vander this time. Let's see if they can get the catch on. Ooh, Stand United. He is tanky, but is he tanky enough? The answer is no. And the Stand United channel does not even complete.
And that's going to be Roccat turning towards the Baron now. And this is, again, one of these areas where we've got to look at, as he said, Stand United didn't complete. Cabochard not being available for the fight after that didn't go through. And Faxi has teleport as well, so he can match that side lane.
Pride Stalker waiting in the brush this time.
Oh, TP's coming through now.
TP is out. They've caught onto Joko. He Ragnarok, so they can't CC him any further than this one. And Foxy got found out. Trap line there, Steelback keeping safe, so this is actually backfired.
Roccat, a little slow on the pace on this one. As Vitality now, they have Vander alive. Andy has his ultimate available, so can cross distance to get to the fight. Steelback's recalling.
He was in the front right now if they were able to catch him, but unfortunately they end up just scattering a little bit. So some hesitation on both teams trying to bait things out and it being called the bluff by their opponents both times now.
Nobody really feels like they can commit to anything at this point.
It's difficult. The game's very close, right? I mean, the gold is 500 different.
It's very true. It's kind of swung back and forth quite a lot between Roccat and Vitality in this game. Roccat starting with the early tower advantage, Vitality taking the better of the trades when you look at champion kills and assists. But it hasn't really had that big turning point in the game for either of these teams yet. We thought perhaps it would be the Baron after they got the kill on Hyanan, but Vitality couldn't commit to it. Roccat put up enough of a deterrent that they couldn't all in. But I think Roccat have improved their later game vision here. You can see wards all the way through. Of course, they have been ahead for the majority of this game, so it is a little easier to control from the offensive side of things.
But Vitality are not giving it up either. They are very active in trying to clear things around. It's very obvious that the Baron is the objective du jour at this point, but there will be another Infernal on the map. The longer they wait, the options start opening up a little bit, just like the map has been for a while. Not a whole lot of towers falling after that 20-minute mark because we really just saw the map kind of getting open in the outer.
You actually just made me question my German there at that point, which isn't great, but I was like, do you mean Detage? I was like, why are we speaking French all of a sudden? Oh, I guess we're going to Paris.
Come on.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I'm just practicing to get ahead. All right, Vitality, they're waiting once again in the brush.
I didn't get a lot. There was nothing, neither did you, unfortunately.
I know. I was a little sad about that.
I'm going to have to speak to people about that.
Yeah. Maybe if I buy one, they'll put it in the next promo. Okay, Roccat looking to chase. That is very telegraphed. Tempered Fate does not land this time around. They're able to keep dodging. And look, Cabochard is splitting on the bottom side. No reaction from Roccat. But he's out of minions.
Yeah, so he's got to back away. We'll have another wave soon, and that means Vitality. Here's where you start pulling Roccat apart, because remember, Faxi used his TP. He does not have TP advantage. This is the engage. This is exactly what we were meaning.
Get in my belly, looking for Betsy, but he is able to get the knockback flash. Exhaust was on him. He unleashes the power, but Joko just doesn't care. They slay him down, and they're going to get stopped up for just a second as they look for more. Pridestalker taking the axe. Cabochard going around the side to try and cut them off, but Roccat know their options. They know where they can and can't be, but without Betsy, it's going to be hard to defend this Baron if they even get that far.
The flash.
Pridestalker isolated from the rest of the team. There goes his flash once again. They trying for Cabochard on the other side, but it doesn't matter because he's able to rejoin up with the rest of the team, and as a unit, Vitality are wrecking through this Roccat lineup.
And this all comes from Faxi showing in the bot lane, basically saying, use the Shen ult, I can't stop you, I can't do anything. And Vitality, this is perhaps one of the best setups for them composition-wise, utilizing this tank. Faxi, not in the right place.
Man, he needed to get out of the pit a lot earlier than that. So Cabochard and the rest of Vitality skid him for a pair of boots, and it's time to turn on to the Baron at 30 minutes.
Easy setup for Vitality on that one. They use the Tahm Kench, bring in the Shen, everything goes their way. And from what was a close game, now it looks like Vitality are going to 2-0 Roccat because they're already building towards it. It's another Infernal Drake that is live. And Roccat still don't have their full lineup, but they do have low health Vitality.
Ooh, I thought they had the burst, but how about that for turnaround? Nuketug with a 5th kill. And if there was any doubt in the minds of anybody that Vitality were going to be able to dish the return fire this series, it looks like that's going that way. And even though Pridestalker tried to come in for the smite, not going to happen. Vander does get rooted up for just a second, but he's able to spit Joko back out as Cabochard comes around the side, forcing the retreat from Roccat. And there is nothing these guys can do with Steelback finding the finishing blow.
It's becoming all too easy for Vitality to close this game out because Roccat are giving over engages time and time again into this Tahm Kench. The Shen, Cabochard has hit some clutch haunts the last few fights, and it's not so easy.
That was a nice stun combo.
It was good, but look, there's only 2 members of Roccat and 4 members of Vitality, and then Shen kind of appears and gets another taunt. Gets another kill, everything goes their way. This fight live.
Yeah, okay, Foxy, he went in. I don't think those numbers work out either. 1v4 usually doesn't, so another kill on the board for Vitality. They got 14 in this game to the 4 that Roccat have, and now they're inside the base. Roccat scrambling to mount a defense with Yarnit just coming off the fountain, and Hib gets busted. Cabochard takes the tower down bot. This snowball is rolling downhill.
It is, and it's going very quickly now as Vitality. Look at the amount of pushing potential they have. This is basically if Roccat give over another kill like this one on Betsy, it's probably just the end of the game.
They just keep on chasing down Joko. He tried to find the finisher, but Vander is able to swallow him up anyways. Tempered Fate comes out, lands onto 3, but the inhib's still going to fall. And Roccat or Cow, they have nothing they can do. The cooldowns and the fear, they just haven't been able to find the fight on the return.
Yeah, and again, everybody now on Vitality, 1,500 gold basically, at least on the carries. Go away back, rebuy a lot of their items. You can see Gargoyle Stoneplate about to be completed for, I believe, both Joko and Cabo Shard here. At least Cabo is close to getting it. It's so difficult because what was a close game has quickly gone in favor of Vitality, just off Roccat giving a couple of advantages over to Vitality in these fights. And now that Steelback is 4 items, has the Bloodthirster completed, very difficult to kill. No real options for Betsy to output that damage. You can see Nukeduck has the Infinity Edge alongside that Rapid Fire Cannon after that Mortius. Now Vitality want to go again.
The action doesn't stop. Joko's bringing Cabo to the party, and Nukeduck is already going to blow up Betsy, looking for the top. Don't even matter about those towers because they're going deep sea diving all the way into Rockat's base once again. Abyssal Voyage coming out for Vander, and Nukeduck finishing off what did. It's only Pridestalker and Foxy left to try and defend this one, and Foxy's not even in the base.
We talked about late game. It's earlier than is usual for Vitality. They're picking up a win.
34 minutes, they're going to be able to close this one out. A last-minute defense mounted by Roccat, but it will be too little. It will be too late. They just fire it down, and these bees are buzzing. V4 victory! How about that? Did not expect to be saying 2-0 Vitality at the start of the day. And there were a lot of close moments, but there is much to be happy about on the Vitality side.
There is, and you can see a lot of the emphasis that Vitality have been putting on their game plan in the last couple of weeks. Nukeduck, perhaps on the best form we've seen from him in a long time, really performing in both games. First game, you bring the Cogmore out. It was a little bit more unorthodox. We'd seen it and heard about it doing well. This time it was actually the Corki, the matchup he played into, finishes that game 8-0-6.
And he did it with the Maw Malmortius.
Well, that's not even a bad thing.
I know, he had a bazillion other items.
He just needed it against the Syndra and just weathers the storm. The fact that as a mid laner you don't die once to being caught by a stray Syndra ultimate when you're low health is a testament to the fact that Nukeduck was in control almost the entire matchup long. Yeah,
I mean, we knew he was going to have an edge over Betsy, who's been struggling for some time here in Europe, but Nukeduck has had a breakout performance in the last couple of weeks. Inconsistent, but finally now we're seeing him dominate an opponent in just about every conceivable way, and the rest of the team is stepping up too. Part of the problem for Roccat, of course, while they got an advantage, they had a team composition that was made to get early game leads, made to get those small advantages and then kind of transition them. The game kind of ran out of their time for them. Roccat get past the point where you can just rely on a laning advantage from a Syndra, from a Renekton, and suddenly a Tahm Kench brings an Olaf, who brings a Shen. Everybody brings to the party, doesn't matter whether they had an invite or not, and Roccat just could not cope with Vitality's ability to just group on top of them. Not at all, and Vitality absolutely looking alive. Now, they came up with a 2-0 win to take down Roccat, so let's leave it to the analysts to break it all down.
Thank you very much, guys. And obviously, we're also going to have a word with the winners in just a bit after we wrap up this series. And I got to say, I'm very pleasantly surprised because this is one of those series that we thought was going to go all the way, long games, not any team showing particular initiative, but Vitality did. And I think that is a huge testament to kind of how they are improving. Do you agree, or was it still sloppy?
I mean, I think we kind of again saw what we expected, where Vitality's early game wouldn't be like too fancy. In this second game here, Roccat was actually winning early on as well.
And had a good comp.
Had a good comp. There was fairly easy to play. At least Renekton, you know, you can just camp the top side. You have a very safe mid laner and strong bot lane. So like overall, I really liked the Roccat draft. And they got like 3-4 towers early game. They were hitting goals. Like, okay, game 3 probably coming up. You know, Roccat is gonna snowball this. And then the late game for Vitality once again actually looks pretty good. They're punishing mistakes. They're winning fights. They have
Nuke Duck in the mid lane.
I was going to say multiple carries, but now you brought up Nuke Duck. They have, of course, Nuke Duck, but also I think Steelback actually had some pretty good moves in this last game.
Yeah, definitely. Steelback also finding his own. Cabo Shard having a performance, and that is always what we look at in the teams that are underperforming. When will several members of the team step up and come online? And maybe it is the Amato effect. After a couple of weeks, they're finding their form.
I mean, really, the thing is not about if Vitality are now like a great team. It's more you're beating the competition around you. The guys that you have a chance to actually take down a bit easier than maybe a Fnatic or a Unicorns of Love right now. So if you're a Vitality, you're currently looking at Mysterious Monkeys winning games. You got to start doing the same, and that's why them against Roccat was so important, because had they lost this series, suddenly they would be tied with the Mysterious Monkeys for last place, but now they're still stepping one win ahead of the Monkeys.
And as we take a look at a couple of highlights from Game 2, it is also good that they have finished this game pretty cleanly, the second one. Even though they were behind early, they fought back, they showed initiative. The first game was pretty clean as well. So those are all very valuable improvements. But from the side of Roccat, yeah, what do you reckon is happening here? Because they did get some big victories. They beat Fnatic a couple of weeks ago. So what is not going good for them anymore?
It's hard to say with Roccat, because even when they were getting some wins the last few weeks, I didn't always feel too confident in them like being as good as the team they were playing against, despite it being a 2-1. Take like the Splice series last week. They win the first game pretty convincingly, and you're like, man, Roccat looks pretty decent. And then they just kind of get stomped the next two games, and you kind of left that weird feeling of, well, are Splice just way better than Roccat, or did Roccat underperform? Then you watch a series like this now, where you see again some good early game moves in the second game, and then they just flop the execution later. You saw in that first replay, Betsy's back in base, and Yanan is just way forward in the side lane, and Vander punishes him with Tahm Kench. Those kind of mistakes I just don't like seeing from the professional teams, because I think a lot of that is just based on communication. If one guy's calling, I'm going back to base, or I'm not on the position on the map to do anything, other guys should respect that. And these kind of sloppy mistakes happen from a lot of teams in Europe, and I just think with Roccat, they are currently the 4th best team in Group A. They will remain the 4th best team in Group A, so they will not go to promotion tournament, but they will not go to playoffs either. That's my prediction for them. And I guess you can be okay with that, but also kind of sucky feeling at the same time.
We'll have to ask them.
Yeah, that's not my call.
No, that's not your call to make. What is or was our call to make is player of the series. It's never been so easy to fish out. Who's the player of the series?
It's Nuke Duck.
It's Nuke Duck, yeah. Second best mid laner in EU.
According to Caps.
According to Caps. No, but this game, obviously, game 1 with the Kog'Maw pick coming out, having great positioning in team fights, dominating his lane, this time in the Corki, because he did have to rectify a couple of things that didn't go well for Vitality early. So, well-deserved.
I think it's super well-deserved. He is playing at a high level. Like, I don't care what some of the Nuke Duck haters are saying. The man is performing on a team that, we've seen some issues with early on in the split. I think Vitality can rally behind him, which is important. And if he can keep performing like this, other members might be able to step up around him as well, and you might get a Vitality who can compete against the other teams.
Let's ask the man himself. How about that? For more on Vitality's win, let's go over to Quickshot, who is ready with our player of the series.
Thank you very much, Shucks. Yes, I am joined by Nuke Duck. First and foremost, congratulations, player of the series. When your face popped up on screen, you had a gigantic smile. So how does it feel to be awarded player of the series in what was a pretty clean 2-0?
The player of the series was nice, of course, but I felt like my teammates did a lot of the work as well in this series, especially the first game. I was mostly just following up on 1 team fights already, and the win feels great as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cogmore in the mid lane, AD carry build. Have you seen that on stream before, actually? A few guys were talking about how, in the past, you've talked about how much you like that pick. What specifically allows you to play it today in this patch or on this meta?
It's just good against Corki, I think. I played Corki one day in solo queue, and I played against Power of Evil, and I didn't have a good time, so I tried to pick it up as well, and that's why I'm playing it.
Well, definitely worked out. Let's step back from this series a little bit and talk about Vitality as a whole. It's your second series win on the split to go along with the 4 losses so far, so not the greatest of starts. And there's been some criticism around different areas of Vitality play, some maybe, sloppy mistakes from the likes of Vander or Joko, maybe a weaker, slower early game. What's it like being on the team that has been struggling a little bit, but seems to be slowly getting better?
I think our biggest problem is just our team play and macro game, and then I don't think anyone is particularly to blame for that. But the last weeks we got a bit better now. We're not as lost on the map anymore, so it's easier for everyone to play. And when everyone is playing well together, everyone can do better as well. So.
All right, everyone playing well together, 2-0 at the moment. Let's look forward, 5 more weeks. Next week, you guys have got a little bit of time off from the stage because Rift Rivals will be here. But what will the last 5 weeks of the split be for Vitality? What are you looking at that you really need to do to improve?
We need to keep the same level of team play and macro game against the top teams. And we obviously need to stomp the NIP and Mysterious Monkeys when we play them. And then hopefully try to get to playoffs, but it will be hard as in our group, all the teams are pretty similar level over us. So, but we're aiming for the playoffs anyway.
Aiming for the playoffs, I really like to hear that. I just have one last question for you. Stomp NIP, I'm pretty sure you guys can do that one. Mysterious Monkeys now with Kickers and Amazing. Will they be stronger? Will they be better? Will they be able to get revenge for the last time you stomped them?
They're probably a bit better, but I think we won't have that hard time against Mysterious Monkeys even now.
All right, I will be quoting you on that next time the game comes up. Congratulations for player of the series. Congratulations for the win, Nuktak. We're going to head over to the ad break. When we come back, H2K take on Misfits. Don't go anywhere.
Just believe in your teammates. If we play our game.
No, just have fun.
Sure. I mean, winning is fun.
Yeah, just have fun. Yeah, just have fun.
Oh! Individual PrideStalker, why do you go back in? He's got to repel
What
up.
goes up must come down.
Gravity reasserts itself, and Joko gets another one. On this time, he's able to find Betsy, who's getting low. Steal back, flashing forward, and back into the belly of Vander as Nukeduck gets the finishing blow. PrideStalker, not wanting to go in. Oh, the taunt flash right in onto PrideStalker, and they just delete him. Novel Shard comes around the side, forcing the retreat from Roccat, and there is nothing these guys can do with Steelback finding the finishing blow. 34 minutes, they're going to be able to close this one out. A last-minute defense mounted by Roccat, but it will be too little. It will be too late. They just fire it down, and these bees are buzzing. V for victory!